Space Quest 3. Third of the Space Quest series, obviously. Released in 1989. And it was actually the first of the series, and only of the series, to use Sierra's creative interpreter. They're tools for, programming games back then. I think it's easy to understand when you look at the art style what games used what interpreters. But Space Quest 3 was an interesting little entry, I must say that. Picking up sort of right after Space Quest 2 leaves off. Although, in all fairness, it is possible an indeterminate amount of time has passed between 2 and 3. But basically, Roger is awoken when his escape pod from Space Quest 2 is picked up by a garbage scow. Now, I should mention, this is actually the first of the game where you didn't get to input a name and officially make our protagonist Roger Wilco. And this one also used better graphics because they were available at the time. And like it has been, it is very good at the sci-fi references in this one. So first off, you have to, of course, escape from the garbage scow. There are some dangers in there that come from, your typical hazard situation, sharp metal, or something else. But there's also a damn good load of comedic moments. If you look around the debris, you will see the Jupiter. I think it was called the Jupiter 2 from Lost in Space. You'll find Optimus Prime's head. You'll find giant Tinker Toys. And so Roger must escape, which means he's got to get everything he needs to escape. There is a possible working ship. You just have to find it. And you have to be careful while investigating. It is quite possible to get stuck somewhere where you will not escape from. And it is quite possible to get killed in machinery in this first area. I recommend you make sure you grab everything you can because you can't go back to this area. Actually, this game is pretty good at setting up a somewhat linear path. This is also the first time a Space Quest game has carry-over stuff. Actually, it's probably the first time any of Sierra's games has had stuff to carry over from the previous installment. This, of course, is the glowing gem that you picked up in Space Quest 2. You still have it at the beginning of Space Quest 3. Once you, of course, get that ship running and you get out of the garbage scow, intergalactic garbage scow, you actually have a bit of a flight section. I mean, it's not much. You can actually travel from location to location. I don't know if there is anything that keeps you from traveling back and forth between locations. But as far as I know, there's a certain order to doing things. I think because I think you have to head certain places first. Hey, Roger, when you go to, it also shows the beauty of the linear nature, somewhat linear nature of the games. Because when you go to Planet Fleabutt, Fleabutt, I say it's Fleabutt, uh, you end up having an encounter with Arnold the Annihilator. An obviously Terminator-like robot designed to look remarkably similar to Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator. And apparently, the company that you ordered the Labian Terror Beast whistle from, apparently you didn't put enough postage on it or something, and you owe them a lot of money. And of course, Arnold is going to collect your life. So we have a section where you have to be stealthy. They give you options with how to defeat Arnold. And of course, once you defeat Arnold, you are free to leave that planet. He sort of traps you on that planet. Your next location would be the Monolith Burger, the intergalactic equivalent of McDonald's, or of any fast food chain that was in major competition in the late 80s. I think the big ones at the time big ones at the time in America, I think was McDonald's and Burger King. I mean, there were others, of course. I mean, Arby's was around back then. Wendy's, I think, was in that. Well, in it you get a quote decoder ring, and you get the somewhat mandatory arcade section in any of these games. I swear, they love their arcade sections in this series, in which you must play Astro Chicken, which is literally designed similar to a classic game I think called Lunar Lander, where you basically have to land Astro Chicken on the target without doing it too hard that Astro Chicken bounces off, or using up all your quote feed for the turn. Anyhow, uh, once you are successful at that, you get a message that you have to decode using the decoder ring, which is basically a distress call from two guys in trouble. Yes, you are going to rescue the two guys from Andromeda, from Scumsoft, which is, again, a variation, I guess, on Microsoft, growing Microsoft at the time, or companies that made crappy games, because Scumsoft games were designed to be unbeatable. Which, in all fairness, in an arcade game, yes, they do. The arcade games are a bit harder than your home console equivalents. 99% of the time. So you are going to find them. And when you get to a planet where where you are led to reveal where they're hiding, you got your typical somewhat time sequence on that one. You got to be careful. Of course, you got to have the right item to head onto the planet because it's ultra hot. So you got to have something that'll keep you cool to show your game's the logic system they have. It's only a pair of thermo weave underwear. Screw your clothing. You have these underwear on. You'll be fine all the time. What the frick is it doing? Generating a force field around your body to keep you cool? Anyhow, you basically find their quote cloaking generator, blow it up on a planet that's literally unstable to begin with, make your way back to your ship, then go to the moon, where you must sneak into Scumsoft, and probably one of the most annoying, agonizing, pain in the butt designs they could have ever put in an one of their Sierra Creative Interpreter games. A circular hallway that you are walking through by moving forwards or backwards. You can see the thing rotate around you. You have to be precise to go through the proper doors and find the proper doors. Now, of course, Roger must use his cunning wiles and find an appropriate disguise to not look suspicious. Yeah, he finds a janitor's closet. And he rescues, by virtue of maintaining disguise and figuring things out of how to do things. He finds a way to literally get in and free the two guys from Andromeda. They were being kept prisoner because of their ability to create games. And then it's a giant, two more slight arcade sections of Rock'em Sock'em robots, and then avoiding getting blasted to smithereens. The second one is slightly easier than the first one. Afterwards, you can tell when this was designed, it was before we had a more understanding of black holes and all that. One of the going theories was that a black hole acted sort of as a tunnel to another part of the universe or another dimension. However, the little jaunt takes Roger and the two guys from Andromeda to Earth, to what appears to be one of a brilliant metagame moments. A breaking of the fourth wall, a actually wrecking ball through the fourth wall. Sort of explaining how the, quote, two guys from Andromeda started working at Sierra. Of course, Roger asks if they need a janitor, and Ken Williams tells him no, and Roger just leaves. Two guys from Andromeda are happy making computer games here on Earth, making a popular series based off Roger Wilco. You know, of the games, I think this one deviates the most from uh, your typical storyline of adventure type games of a science fiction nature. However, it does introduce some characters that you see reoccur from in various entries, so to speak. I mean, we see Fester Blatz reappear in one way, shape, or form in some later installments. Elmo Pug gets seen again in Space Quest 6. Other items get referenced in later episodes in other installments. So it's kind of I suppose it's got that going for it. I mean, of all the Space Quest games, I'd argue it is one of the quote weaker entries. And that's only because of the oddness of what it ends up being is rescuing the creators of the game from a very bad, uh, rotten company and bringing the Earth to be programmers at another company. Yeah, but I mean, it does capture on the meta humor. I mean, you got your science fiction humor, but I mean, adding it into one of the uh, few games that literally breaks the fourth wall with its moment of Roger and the two guys from Andromeda basically meeting Ken Williams. I gotta give them credit for that one. It's not the first game I've played that does that. As I played, when I played this, I got this actually shortly after, while I was in college. So my exposure to Space Quest is minimal at that time. But I beat Leisure Suit Larry 3, I think, before I got to Space Quest 3. And even that game features some meta moments at the end of it. So I have to say, this is like the second game. I don't recall when Leisure Suit Larry 3 was released. It was definitely released during when Sierra was using its own creative interpreter. But it's it. Adventure wise, I'd say it's meh. Comedy wise, it's good, especially if you know your science fiction. You know where all these jokes are coming from, and who knows, you'll even spot some of these inside jokes or some of their nods before anyone else does. Or you might find some that some haven't noticed by now, but I mean it's been it's been out since 1989. I think almost all the jokes have been found by now. But that's all I'm going to say about Space Quest 3, The Pirates of Pestilon. I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of rambling about the game. And I hope you check out all the other videos I offer. Take care, all. Bye.